Good morning, I'm Ferdi Salvador and welcome to Industry Beacon, where we shine a light on the trailblazers, the disruptors, and the leaders shaping our future. And in each episode, we explore how they're staying ahead in their fields, one industry at a time. This morning, we take a look at the intricate world of interior design. That work goes into transforming empty spaces into rooms that scream personality is no easy feat. But beyond aesthetics, interior design also focuses on comfort and functionality. We're glad to have here in the studio the creative mastermind behind Phoenix Home, Nix Alañon. Good morning, Nix. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Ferdi. Good morning.
Good morning. Anyway, we're not here to talk about interior design per se, because we're here to talk about your creative mastermind behind Phoenix Home, which is actually a furniture company.
Yes, it is.
So how did you start?
I started Phoenix Home in 2011. During that time, there weren't a lot of furniture places that I can source to, which is more my style and the style that I was doing for my clients.
Yes.
So friends would always ask me if they could have furniture made. And I would always go to Pampanga because I had projects back then in Pampanga.
Yeah, that's where the trouble starts, when friends ask.
Exactly, exactly. And so I thought of starting my own business, and it all started from that. So I promoted some friends and some clients, and it has been almost 15 years.
Yes, but a lot of people, of course, you are society interior designer, okay? You're up there with the big stars, obviously, but now you're being known more as a furniture manufacturer and designer. So, of course, friends ask you, you develop pieces, and then you dove into this, right?
Yes.
What is the state of our furniture manufacturing industry in the Philippines?
Well, it's thriving, I must say. There are a lot of projects being built right now, both residential, commercial. Buildings are being built left and right. Residential and other commercial projects as well. So yes, it's a big industry. There's a lot of players now in the industry, but it's always good to have that.
Yes, but then, of course, in the 80s and 90s, the Philippines was very popular with accessories and furniture exports to the US, to Europe. I don't know, I don't have the data, but perhaps also China in the, the later years, no? But that waned, right? So that's why I asked you, because I want to know if the furniture manufacturing industry is alive.
Yes, it is alive. The furniture export business, as you said, may have waned, but a lot of furniture manufacturers in the Philippines and in other places have also concentrated in selling locally.
So the domestic market is booming?
It is booming.
Okay, fantastic.
Yes.
And what your clientele would be mostly what? Hospitality, commercial, or residential?
A mix of both. Currently, we have, of course, our big projects are the residential, the buildings, the communities, those kinds of real estate projects.
Yeah, because you are up there with the likes of Felix, you're up there with the likes of Kenneth Cobonpue. Of course, we're very proud of him because, he's internationally renowned, Vito Selma, and obviously, as I said, you're up there already. You've got an exhibit currently happening, which we'll talk about later. But I've been trying to figure this out because there's obviously a friendly, competition between manufacturers in Pampanga and manufacturers in Cebu. What makes you distinct? Because you manufacture in Pampanga.
Well, is there a competition I am not aware of? But, are there differences? We both, I would say, manufacture really excellent and quality furniture and designs as well.
Right.
I think historically, both places in the Philippines are known to have, ties in the export industry. So I think as early as the 70s, some furniture were made in Pampanga and some were made in Cebu. As per competition, I would say, again, it's friendly. And they both have their own strengths.
Yes.
In Pampanga, there's a lot of as we say, ukit.
Yes.
The ukit industry is also alive. Carvings.
Yeah.
In Pampanga, there are companies just like Betty's, who has been making it since many years ago, and have also developed and have also revived their brands by adding sub brands to their company.
Right.
Cebu, if I'm not mistaken, was mostly more known before as for the outdoor rattan industry. Both places have it until now, but I would say that those were the things that they were more known at the time.
I'm going to call you Ambassador Alañon now because that was very diplomatic and I appreciate that.
Of course.
But okay, let's talk about materials because there's a lot of clamor and demand for sustainable materials.
Right.
Do you use anything sustainable?
Yes, definitely. We in Phoenix Home, we use a lot of wood. I would say about 80 to 90% of what we produce is made out of wood. And we use wood that are FSC sourced.
Okay. Can you educate our viewers regarding that statement?
Okay, so that is it means that if you see that, it means that the wood has been sustainably sourced.
Okay, or grown.
Grown and sourced, yeah.
Okay.
So it takes a number of years before they are cut, and they also make sure that where these wood comes from, they have a responsible way of growing and also replacing the wood that has been
Are they grown in the Philippines?
Harvested. We use both trees and wood that have been grown in the Philippines and some that are not.
Oh, okay. And what's your favorite material?
Right now, we use, of course, okume is one that African tangile or tangile. We also use walnut. We also use ash wood for the graining. Of course, we also have local wood, which is my favorite material. If I can source, would be wood like kamagong, but of course that's kind of like hard to
I think it's
get by now.
Yes. I think sustainable growth of that is what people are propagating, or some farmers. So I know in the South they're doing that now, and I hope it succeeds because I think it's endemic, no, in the Philippines.
It is.
Yes.
And so if we get to use that, it's wood that has been repurposed.
Yes. Well, I like that term, repurposed. Have you ever worked with pieces, from, I know you've got a lot of sources, antique pieces or mid-century. I know you were in that design phase for a while. Are you still doing that?
Yes. That is why if we go back to the history of Phoenix Home, my style has always been around the mid-century style. And during that time, there were not of options. Now you have stores in the Philippines that cater to that market.
Okay, we'll get back to that next. And we're going to take a quick break. Industry Beacon will be right back. Stay with us here on the Bilyonaryo News Channel. Welcome back to Industry Beacon here on BNC. Still with us, Nix Alañon of Phoenix Home. So we were just talking earlier before the break about repurposing furniture and mid-century stuff that I've seen from your collections and obviously based on our research. What I want to know from you is what you think of distinct Filipino style when it comes to furniture design.
I think that Filipino furniture style has always been around. It's always, in style and on trend. But I also like how the Philippine furniture now has had a resurgence. Or when I say resurgence, with more modernized shapes. Like for example, I also like what another designer, Milo Naval, is doing. So he's making, sort of like still Filipino furniture, maintains the shape, but in a more modernized way. So bigger sizes and all that. So yeah.
You know, we had on the show previously, architect Jello Manyosa and interior designer, your friend as well, Cesar Ravales. And we were talking about distinct Filipino looks, right? And then they're championing the new Filipino wave. What material or what particular design or technique you think that Nix Alañon for Phoenix would like to put out there in the world that will stamp your name in the global furniture scene?
I would say it's for a time also, if I may be candid, I was also thinking, as a Filipino furniture designer, do I necessarily have to make a Filipino style, a Filipino silhouette kind of furniture?
Yeah, yes.
And I realized, I can have my own style, which is more alluding more to like mid-century style. And I'm a Filipino designer. So as to my stamp, I like, I'm going back to, like putting out more prints, having different shapes, unusual shapes that are still different, but, it's still very relatable, and you can still find it and usable in your own spaces.
Nice. I like that. You create your own brand name as a Filipino designer rather than just sticking with Filipino design. Right? Because whatever you design, you're a Filipino designer. Therefore, it's a Filipino design, right?
Absolutely.
So, what are the challenges, Nix, do you think the furniture industry is facing right now? Because, as I mentioned, the 80s, 90s, that was the boom, and then we waned, and then it was a crash of a huge billion-dollar industry. What challenges does your industry have now?
For challenges, I think it would be how to reinvent your brand, or not necessarily reinvent, but come up with new styles or designs to catch your audience or new audiences. There's also a lot of players right now. So if that's
which means to say that it is healthy. Like
it is healthy. It is healthy, but it's also competition. Competition is competition. It could be healthy or not, but it's a competition. So it keeps everyone on their toes. So that I would say is just one of the challenges, which is still a positive because you're still there, but you have to find ways to keep your current market and also expand and meet new customers as well.
Talk about meeting new customers. What's your dream project?
What's my dream project? I would say probably a new hotel.
Okay.
A fresh hotel. Could be a homegrown new hotel or a chain that's coming to the Philippines, and Phoenix Home would be able to create the furniture within the spaces of that hotel.
Actually, that's an interesting topic that you mentioned, because we interviewed one of the top hoteliers here in the Philippines a couple of weeks last week, if I'm not mistaken, and they're really pumping in billions of pesos, putting new resorts and hotels in different parts of the Philippines. That's not a traditional tourist place.
Right.
And, based on that, what do you think you would envision? Let's say a hotel in Siargao. What would you do what kind of furniture design would you put in that luxury resort?
Good question, because I just came from Siargao 3 weeks ago.
You didn't go under the sun, obviously.
I did not. I did, but the weather was not as sunny as.
Okay.
So I just came from Siargao. It's my first time.
Wow.
And I had a great time, of course. Since it's a more tropical place, of course, it has to be more of a resort type. I would say something, a good architecturally, probably more cleaner styles, cleaner lines, with mix of natural materials as well. The furniture could be a play of modern and resort, and I think that would be an interesting mix.
Nice. What about your high-end clientele for their homes? What are they shifting towards? Because we had the Italian wave, right? Beautiful Italian-made pieces that I have to say quite pricey. You know what I mean? What are they now looking for in terms of their living spaces?
What are they looking for?
Or trends, rather.
Trends. I would think that we just came from a period of having, we call it Japandi,
Yes.
or the Japanese Scandinavian style.
Yes.
That a lot of, and it's been going on for maybe 3 years now. So I think there's a shift now to having, more interesting pieces within the house. So coming from a more muted, monochromatic palette, people are now more into color. They're slowly, inching their way into accepting bolder pieces into their homes right now.
So, do you think that maximalism is coming back? Because I'm all for that. I need maximalist pieces.
Slowly, I think it's coming back.
Yes.
It's always been there. Or you know what? If it's not a major piece, if you cannot fully commit to that, then probably an accessory, an interesting piece that you can add to your homes. A punch of color in your furniture, a fabric that you don't normally see. There's also a lot of Filipino fabrics that are being used at home.
Yes.
May it be throw pillows, may it be sometimes upholstery. And I think it's a good way to, zhuzh up your space as well.
I like that. That's right. Okay, last question, Nix. What is your biggest mistake?
What is my biggest mistake? Are we talking about work?
Whatever.
My biggest mistake...
You don't want me to ask you personal stuff. I'll get in trouble.
My biggest mistake... you know what? I could say that I have not really encountered that as of now, and and I hope I won't get into that in the future. I guess there would be improvements. Probably is it going back into retail more? Having a constant presence in a mall or somewhere. But that's about it.
I'm sure we're going to see more of you, and we hope you don't have a big mistake. We appreciate you being here on Industry Beacon this morning. Thank you, Nix Alañon of Phoenix Home. And that is it for today's show. I'm Ferdi Salvador. Catch the Bilyonaryo News channel on Free TV Channel 31 and on cable via Cignal Channel 24. Thank you for watching the Bilyonaryo News channel. Always on top, and have a happy weekend.